On April 6th, 2025, All Elite Wrestling will host their second ever Dynasty pay-per-view from the Liacouras Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And the card is loaded from top to bottom with high-stakes title matches. But who will come out on top as AEW heads into the summer building towards Double or Nothing in Arizona and the big Y'all In show in Texas? Welcome to Mark My Words, and this is my prediction video for AEW Dynasty 2025. Starting off with the three-way for the international title, Kenny Omega will be defending his championship against the newly debuted Speedball Mike Bailey and newly betrothed Ricochet. The in-ring quality bar for three-ways for the AEW international title is basically sky high, with the first being Orange Cassidy successfully defending against Rey Fenix and Luchasaurus back when it was still the All-Atlantic title, and the second time being arguably the greatest three-way of all time in Will Ospreay versus Konosuke Takeshita and Ricochet at Wrestle Dream, where Big Take won the title. I'm still familiarizing myself with Bailey. Ricochet has established himself as a must-see wrestler in AEW, and the best bout machine Kenny Omega is possibly the most undeniable pay-per-view wrestler of all time. And I'm expecting nothing but an insane all-out sprint for 20 minutes with these guys. The match alone is enough to sell me on the pape, and I think we'll see Kenny retain so he can start building towards an all-in match against Continental Champion Kazuchika Okada to unify the international and continental titles. Next, we have ROH Champion, the Learning Tree Chris Jericho, taking on Bandito in a title versus mask match. Now, I must admit, I was not so stoked to see these guys working together originally. I see Bandito as a potential AEW World Champion in the future, and any Ring of Honor gold sort of feels like a step backwards for him right now. I was even there for the unfortunate way this program began at ROH Final Battle, and you could feel a similar vibe in the room at the time. However, I'm happy to feel I've been proven wrong today. Ever since the inclusion of Bandito's brother Gravity, Jericho has taken his Learning Tree role in a far more serious direction, and the character is really starting to click. That being said, I can't even fathom them removing Bandito's mask at this point. It would be Rey Mysterio unmasked in 1999 levels of stupid to do so. I mean, seriously, who could possibly be a dumb enough hack to book something like that? All that being said, I think Bandito walks out of Philly as the new ROH champion. TNT champion Daniel Garcia and Adam Cole Bay have been going back and forth fighting for this storied championship on Collision for weeks now. Cheap quick plug, go watch my other video, The Rise, the Fall, and the Redemption of the TNT title. People have been critical of the story being kept on Collision, but I think it makes sense to keep the story of the TNT title on a show that actually airs on TNT. Their previous meetings have been exceptional matchups, and with this new no time limit and no outside interference rules, we'll finally have a definitive winner for this feud. While I'd love to see Bay get gold sometime in the near future, I don't think Garcia's reign is done quite yet. Nor do I think Cole's the right guy to end the reign. Here, I see Daniel retaining in the proverbial 5-star fight of his life. The Death Riders versus Rated FTR for the Trios title has a lot of people in their feelings. The Death Riders storyline started pretty cold but has been picking up steam lately. And Rated FTR has been a thing I've wanted to see become a serious act since before Copeland even came to the company. And just to be clear for anybody who's new to my channel or my professional wrestling takes, FTR are one of my ride or die acts across the entire industry of professional wrestling. All that being said, I think the Death Riders retain here. Story-wise, I believe we'll see a split with Rated FTR, which ultimately builds to FTR versus Cope and Christian at All In. Plus, I remember some shots of the Ops watching the world title match at Revolution, and I think the Ops will be the ones to ultimately take the Trios titles off the Death Riders at a later date. Next, the Hurt Syndicate put their AEW tag titles on the line against Big Bill and the Bad Apple Brian Keith of Chris Jericho's Learning Tree. The original rumor was they pivoted to this match after Brian Cage of the Murder Machines got injured, which is a bummer because I really wanted to see that match. However, I think there's something special here. The Syndicate are one of the most over acts in AEW. Big Bill always over-delivers while continuing his slow climb up the roster, and this will be Brian Keith's first AEW pay-per-view match, so I'm sure he's going to give it a career-defining effort. Ultimately, I think the Syndicate come out on top here with a little help from MJF, even though MJF just might have his own backup. as I think he's bringing in his former MLW stablemates, Richard Holiday and Alex Hammerstone, to reform their group, aptly named the Dynasty. Where both groups go after that remains to be seen. Just to get through them quickly, I'm expecting good matches out of the Owen, but I see Ospreay going over Kevin Knight and Mercedes Moné picking up a win over Julia Hart. Next, we have the highly anticipated Women's World title match between Toni Storm and Megan Bayne. Timeless Toni Storm is the biggest character in AEW right now, and it's not even close. The Hollywood ending at Revolution has solidified her as one of the top names in the industry, regardless of gender, and you can see the woman is more confident in her character than ever before. At the same time, AEW has done a wonderful job building up the Megasis as a believable monster of a contender in a short amount of time. Honestly, I think of all the matches on this card that this one is the toughest to call, and I mean that in a very good way. I'd be fine with either outcome. However, I think the outcome of this match will paint a very clear picture for who challenges for the title at All In. Either Bayne wins the title and Chris Statlander wins the Owen to go on to challenge at All In, or Toni retains her title, and we get the biggest possible women's match AEW can book for All In. Timeless Toni Storm versus the CEO Mercedes Moné. Jon Moxley defends his AEW World title against Swerve Strickland in what is clearly the match that has the fans most whipped up into a frenzy. Mox's Death Rider storyline has chased that Mick Foley purposely going against what fans want in ECW-style heat, which can creatively pay off down the line, but hasn't led to a giant positive change in business for the company. I have nothing but love for Mox and respect what he's trying to do. But I wouldn't be upset if Swerve won here, and we got Swerve vs. Hangman as the main event of All In Texas. However, I can't help but notice the skate park iconography that has been heavily featured in the most recent promos for Dynasty. And there's only one wrestler I can think of who's closely related with skate culture like that. Cora Jade. I'm kidding, it's Darby Allin. With all due respect for Swerve, and the knowledge in my heart he will one day again be AEW champion, I see Jon Moxley retaining here, with Darby Allin making a big return to send the fans home happy. This ultimately leads to Darby winning the Owen Hart Cup and finally climbing that mountain to become world champion by beating Mox at All In. And those are my predictions for what I think are going to be an exceptional couple hours of professional wrestling. Think I'm right? Let me know in the comments below. Think I'm wrong? Go ahead and holler the same. AEW rarely misses on pay-per-view, and looking at this card, I don't think they're going to let fans down in the city of brotherly love. Thanks for watching this episode of Mark My Words, and I hope you had a good time.